mission is my own recognition.
Hey everybody, welcome to Recovery Soapbox. We are coming to you from Brighton Community Center's grand opening party. My name is Clay and I'm the Alumni Director for Brighton Recovery, and I'm sitting here today with my friend Adam. Hey,
Yeah.
Adam.
Hey, how you doing, Clay?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, man. My name is Adam. I am addicted to anything that makes me feel different. I have been now in the Brighton community for going on about the last year and a half, but I was in the mansion and also went up to the monastery, and you know, it's been a journey for me, but you know, this facility in particular, and sober living, and the alumni, and you being so gracious to let me pursue my passions and giving me a platform to do that has been really beneficial for me. You know, I had an art opening here, which was a dream of mine to always do, and I got that opportunity to do that when I was here in sober living, and you know, my continued pursuit of that has led me FTR doing stuff and all over the valley, and so it's been really awesome that I got the opportunity to do that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. It's been, you know, one of the pleasures of my job is getting to watch you guys grow. You know, and as someone myself in recovery, it's you know, that's the best part of all of this, is to see, like, whether we do it the first time or we do it takes us a few times, like, just to see that growth has been awesome to watch with you. One of the things I always like to kind of ask you, you know, we're sitting at the community center, is like, what does community mean to you?
Well, man, I can tell you that this is definitely not my first rodeo, and not even my first treatment or second or third or fourth. I've been down a long road for a lot of years, and you know, I think that the one part that I was always missing is the community, and feeling like I fit in somewhere. You know, I've kind of always been that misfit or outsider a little bit, and I've just found that this place is like home to me. You know,
Yeah.
I really I love this community, man, and the way I look at it is, if I stay in the center of all of these wonderful people, it'll be really hard for me to fall, you know?
Yeah.
So I try to stay as engaged as possible. You know, I try to stay as active as possible in all the alumni events and all of the community center events, and man, it's saved my ass. And today I have handfuls of people that I love, that support me, and I know that they do. They care for me, and it's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
It's been amazing, you know. And I think that's due to you and the people that work for you directly. I think that you've made it really fun, easy. You've let me pursue things that I've always wanted to pursue, you know. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate hearing that, man.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of nailed the head like that. If I stay in the center of that group, it's going to be really hard for me to fall down. And even when we do fall down, like, we have that group right there that's going to pick us back up. And one of the things I always love, and I kind of look at community as, it's a place I get to go and be myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a place I get to go, and the last thing I want to do is be myself.
Yeah.
Because those people are going to have my back, and they're going to pick me up when I need it. Another thing I always like to kind of ask people whenever we do these is, you know, as I've been through this for a while, you know, is like, what's something that you kind of learned that you wish you could have known when you first started your journey into recovery?
You know, I wish I could tell myself that it doesn't have to be this hard, you know. It's really, it doesn't have to be as hard as I made it, you know. It's really so simple that it's hard sometimes, you know. And I really wish I mean, I'm glad that I was resilient. I'm glad that I never gave up. I'm glad that I still fight for my recovery and for my life today. But, you know, I would just tell myself, like, you know, it doesn't have to be this hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's such a valid point. Like, I always like to say that we, you know, myself included, like, we overcomplicate this.
Yeah.
It's not, like, it is hard work, but the cool thing is that, like, with whatever, you know, avenue we choose in recovery, like, it's all laid out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just about being there for the person, right? Like, treating someone new the way you wanted to be treated when you were new, and then that cycle continues. And I think, you know, people like you and that core group of people that we've had here have been so integral in, like, creating this place and making a place that people feel welcome and want to be a part of.
And it's just so much more than just than the recovery. It's like, man, there's so many different facets of this place that, you know, are just, it's different than any center I've ever been to. It's different than any alumni I've ever been a part of. And the fact that we have this outlet and this ability to really show who we are as people and I mean, like I said, it was a dream come true to be able to have an art show here and to be able to display my art and something I'm passionate and I love. And it's a huge part of my recovery today, you know?
Awesome.
And I just appreciate it. So
yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I really do. I appreciate the texts I get every morning from you as well.
Yeah.
I always look forward to them.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my things, you know? I just, it's how I stay in the center. I do that more for me than you.
Yeah.
And it's just because, you know, I know that if my ass is falling off, you're going to call me and be like, yo, I didn't get a text from you. And so, yeah, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
And I want to stay connected. And I put effort into it because I know how it's only what I put into it. And so today I put everything I have into it. You know?
Well, I've loved watching it. I've loved being a part of it. Like, I love seeing you have that growth. Kind of the one last question I wanted to ask is, for you, what is the best thing that's come out of your recovery for you in your life?
The power of choice today, and to be able to really be a present father to my daughter, and to be able to show up for her and not just, but to be a part of her life in a meaningful way, you know. And this been a long road. You know, I just talked to somebody who worked at Wasatch Recovery, where I went through 2 years ago, and you know, my goal there was to be able to be in my daughter's life. And he asked me, he said, "So you're in your daughter's life today?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I get her every weekend." And I mean, that's been the best part of it, you know, is to see, I get to see my daughter grow up now, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I think that's I couldn't agree more. That having those relationships are probably the best part of all of this.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And being able to feel like, I mean, she's been here. She's, you know, this place is home to her too. You know, so.
Awesome, man. Well,
yeah.
I appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah, thank you, Clay.
I love you, dude.
Appreciate it.
This is Josh with Brighton Recovery Center at the grand opening of the community center. After years and years and years of construction, we're here with Heather Coates. And I've been with Brighton since we opened. I've been telling everybody here, and I could not be more fortunate to have someone on the team that's so great. Heather's been in recovery how many years now?
A little over 2.5.
And you got quite the story.
I do have quite the story. What do you want me to?
You don't have to say anything other than tell me about community. Like when you see this,
Okay.
what the hell do you think about this right now?
Well, first of all, like what is happening here right now is awesome. But so when I first started working with Brighton, this hadn't opened yet, but the idea was presented to me, and or you told me about it, and I was just like, what? And like, because to me that's like the number one thing that we lack when we're drinking or using drugs or in our like, you know, like dark mental health stuff, is we lack connection and community. And so I'm a huge advocate for community. So like to hear this idea where people are given this like whole little, you know, what do you call it? Like all-encompassing
experience.
Yeah.
Everything that you need in recovery.
Like all of your continued care with like, and I feel like it, like at first I think it gives people their legs, right? When they don't really have them yet, because residential treatment, sure, it helps you get sober and helps you kind of like tackle some of the tougher things, but what you really need is this, is a more solid, a solid community base, right? To be successful in recovery. At least for me, I had to get involved in all kinds of different things. And it wasn't given to me like this. Like, I feel like this is like so awesome, because here it is just like all in one place. Like they have a little coffee shop right here, which was I think is so cool, and like a what's it, like business center, so you can find jobs or do whatever you need to do in that. And then cool, the apartments are really nice.
And meditation.
Yeah.
And yoga.
Yeah.
And Fit to Recover.
Yeah.
You mentioned community-based support. You work with Recovery Vibe.
Yeah.
And what do you do at Recovery Vibe?
So my friend Austin and I, we met in treatment actually. We have the same sobriety date. We started a nonprofit called Recovery Vibe, and we teach dance. Is how it started. And he has a background in dance. I don't, but it was really important to me to like provide. I use 12-step recovery, but I know how important it is to have things that are something else. And so it was like an opportunity to provide people the ability to connect and find a community where they can like express themselves creatively in a safe space. And we meet every Thursday, and I see the impact that it has on people to be able to come together and like, and just like feel like there's no judgment, and we are all connected somehow, and to find like the commonality rather than the difference. And so that's really important. It's always been important to me. We do a lot of fun and recovery stuff, so because I think that's important for people to like literally learn how to live in recovery and thrive.
You said a couple words that are key, and I think that they're here: connection and community. And in early recovery for me, I mean, I did sober living, I did long-term IOP, I did PHP, and to have everything here, you have everything here: Fit to Recover, connection, and community. It's all here.
Yeah. And so what's weird though, I got into drugs at the age of 35, and I became homeless pretty much the same year I started using
So you were
heroin.
you went for it.
So like I had a home on 2 acres in Farmington before that, with like,
And you went from 35,
and,
wow.
And then I just went, I had a problem with alcohol before that, but I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that I was an alcoholic. So, and I got introduced to opiates, and it was like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And then pretty soon it was just like one thing after another. Within a year, about a year and a half of me doing heroin the first time, my husband was in prison, I was homeless, and I'd lost my youngest son to DCFS. Yeah, and then I was out there, and I've never been even close to homeless. So I was just like, well, I'm not sleeping outside, so I will do whatever I have to. So I started selling drugs, and then I started stealing from like Home Depot, and then I would return it and get the gift card, and then this shitty motel would give me a gift card, 85 cents on the dollar for the gift card. So then I
used to buy them in early recovery.
Yeah, so I'd pawn them at the pawn shop. So I would do all this like shoplifting, and so before I tried heroin the first time, I had no criminal record. And then I have, forgery, fraud, possession, with intent, all this other, 4 DUIs. But yeah, so it was I went low bottom, but I went really fast.
Well, and what you've done here, and that in a very nutshell is why I'm so grateful to have you on the team, to be able, we all have our bottom.
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody, and it doesn't need to be
yours. No.
Mine was dark, but I just have, it's strange. I have more respect for someone that's gone where you've gone, and now is the person that you are, because of your passion, your enthusiasm. Yeah. And I'm just so grateful. Yeah. And thank you.
Me too. I'm so grateful. I'm in love with Brighton. Well, talk to me next year, we'll see, but but so far, it aligns with my values, so.
Stay tuned, we're gonna do a podcast, me and Heather. We're gonna get dark.
We'll go deep.
Welcome back to Recovery Soapbox, coming to you from the Brighton Community Center's grand opening. I'm Clay, I am the Alumni Director for Brighton, and I'm here with my friend Natalie.
Hi.
Hey Natalie, how are you?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Good. So we're kind of just talking about community and what that means to us, in the theme of all of this, and building that community within Brighton and outside of it as well. And I guess kind of the first thing I want to ask is just like, your story with Brighton is a little different, right? You didn't go through a residential, and you came into us an outpatient, and then and living at the sober living. I'm just interested in kind of what that's been like for you, or what has it meant to be kind of part of this community.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Clay. And it has been kind of different in that I didn't go through residential or PHP with Brighton. But when I got here to do IOP, it was still just so welcoming, just immediately. Everyone, staff, other residents, everyone in the community and the program really just went out of their way to make sure I've felt welcome and safe. And it's been awesome. I've been here about 4 months. My journey's kind of coming to an end with IOP and sober living. And I feel really supported continuing in this journey of recovery. It's great.
What does community mean to you when you think about it, right? Like, we know what a community is, but what does it mean to be a part of the community?
To me, it means feeling safe and supported and being able to be vulnerable with people. Mm-hmm. And I guess the biggest part for me has been people really meeting me halfway and letting me know I'm not alone, no matter what I'm struggling with, no matter what I'm going through, what I went through to get here, that I'm not alone and that I can be vulnerable and honest and that I'm safe with people and supported no matter what. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's, in alumni, in the community center and all of that, our main goal, is to have that kind of ready-made thing. So, all you got to do is show up, and we try to take care of everything for that. And I think that the community itself, it makes it easy for me and my team to help facilitate that with the people that, like yourself, that are just always so eager to kind of participate. And I can kind of remember, in the beginning, it didn't seem like softball was a huge thing for you, and it's been so cool to see you participate in that and take on a role with that. And I'm just wondering, because some people might see it here oh, you do sober softball. How does softball teach me about recovery? How does softball teach me life skills? And just wondering, what's your experience specifically with playing sober softball? What has that meant for your recovery?
It's a team sport, and I didn't grow up particularly athletic. I don't consider myself an athlete by any means. So to come and kind of flop as far as playing softball and not really being very good, and still just being so supported and so encouraged to just try new things, step outside of my comfort zone, and also to, strike out and keep going. It's been really character building for me to do things that are uncomfortable and still, even if I don't get a home run or I don't catch a pop fly, that, keep going. My team's there for me. I'm there for them, and we're in it together no matter what. Very character building for me. I look forward to it every week. Yeah.
It was huge for me in the beginning stages of my journey as well. One of the things I also generally like to kind of ask is, what's something that you know now that maybe you wish you had known when you started your journey of recovery?
Really that I wasn't alone, and that my struggles were not unique. And while my story might have unique aspects to it, that everyone I'm in this community with, part of their story can resonate with me and part of my story can resonate with them. That I'm absolutely not alone, and not just in what brought me here, but in the ebbs and flows of early recovery, and that the same kind of holdups that I have with certain modalities of recovery. I'm not the only one that has those. I'm not the only one who struggles with being vulnerable and who struggles with being honest. So that's something I really wish I'd come into it with. And been more willing to do from the very start, is to just be 100% rigorously honest.
I love that, like you said, I'm not unique, right? And I used to suffer, people would tell me it's like being called terminally unique, right? Where I thought my problems were only I dealt with them, right? Nobody could understand. And it's true, our stories of kind of where we got have differences and we experience different things, but we all kind of end up in the same place, right? And that's one of the things I love about recovery in general is it's always, I like to call it the great equalizer, right? We're kind of this misfit group of people that the majority of my friends that I have now are people I probably would have never been friends with, and recovery is that even playing field that we're all on, and experiencing that together has been, both personally and in the work sense has been the joy of my life. In this process for you, what has been the biggest reward for you that you have realized, in this growth?
That if I put in the work, that I will see the fruits of my labor. Even maybe not immediately, but if I continue to just stay willing, even just be willing to be willing and just try to do things that are outside of my comfort zone and outside of my kind of scale of familiarity, that if I keep doing it, I will absolutely see results, even if it doesn't feel good, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I don't think I'm good at it, like with softball, that there are lessons to be learned in all of it. And just to keep going, keep doing it, keep putting in the work.
Awesome.
For sure.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Clay.
Cool. Thanks, Nat. Welcome back to Recovery Soapbox, coming at you from the Brighton Community Center. I'm sitting with my good friend Sam here.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. So Sam is here with Flourish today, providing pies for everybody. Do you want to kind of tell me a little bit about Flourish and what you guys do?
Yeah, so Flourish Bakery, we're a nonprofit training program for people coming out of incarceration or struggling with addiction. And we're really big on bridging that gap between, because the issue we found was when you come out of incarceration or treatment, you go from 100% structure to no structure. And so we're there to fill in that gap to help people get into the working environment and just really have support through their journey.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really love about Flourish, and as you guys are a great community asset for all of these people that a lot of times as people when we're fresh out of incarceration or we're in the beginning of our sobriety journey, there's like a huge stigma towards us, and I love it. I mean, obviously we had you guys do our wedding and it was fantastic, and one of the things that we've really been I'm excited for is like working towards is building that joint community between Flourish and Brighton as well. What's kind of the program look like for, let's say I'm a brand new person and I'm looking to get involved in Flourish? What does that look like?
So it's a year-long training program. You'd apply online. We'd get you in for an interview. Round 1 interview is with the staff. Round 2 is with the staff and all the other interns. Just kind of see if it's a feel that you want to do, if it's something you want to get into. And then once we get in, there's modules, and you're classically trained in baking, the ins and outs of running a bakery business, ordering, all that stuff. You're learning the sales part of it, going to farmers markets, catering events, weddings, learning how to price out different stuff. And then once you're done with the year-long internship, you go into a 3-month externship. We place you in, or you find a job, or we place you in a job in the community to where you do your hours there, and then your manager would fill out a form like on your performance and stuff like that. And then you graduate the program. And we want to educate people while paying them. You know what I mean? That's our biggest thing is we don't want, it's a school, but we want people to be able to survive.
Right.
So, we pay starting at 12, bump up to 14 after 90 days. They have AFLAC, they've got 2 weeks paid vacation plus 4 days pay, PTO. So,
That's great.
Yeah.
So how does learning to bake, run a bakery, run a business, how does that teach me skills that would apply to my recovery or as somebody who's reintegrating into a community?
So the basis of it, honestly, I could care less if they come out of this and become a baker or work in the culinary industry. What we're teaching them is how to be punctual, have integrity in everything they do, build community. We start at 6 in the morning, and we expect a high level of quality coming out of our kitchen. So you're paying attention to being on time, following it, making sure that you're putting out the best you can do. You know what I mean? And being available for that constructive criticism, being available for us to be like, hey man, we're noticing this. And a lot of people don't want to hear that.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, because I know for me when I first got sober, the idea of accountability or being responsible for something was such a foreign concept. It was something I didn't really know how to do.
Yeah.
And that community aspect, like you're talking about, it's just so important.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me to is wondering, what does community mean to you? What is a community?
Community to me is anything else, all things aside, is the most important thing in anybody's life, recovery or not. Even if you don't have any substance abuse issues, if you don't have a community, your life is pretty hollow. And so I mean, community building, it's what is a game changer for me. A little background for me, I've been to treatment 5 times. I've done the jail. I was a heroin addict for 10 years, did probation. I came out here to get sober. And the biggest game changer for me was I started finding a community. I started looking at my holistic health, like the fueling my brain with my body, like eating good food, getting sleep, not staying up drinking energy drinks and smoking cigarettes all night and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, so community is having people around you that are going to support you, but also hold you accountable. You know what I mean?
I love that. I couldn't have said it better than that. Kind of one of the last things I always like to ask is, what's something that you know about yourself or recovery now that maybe you wish you had said to yourself when you first started this journey?
Something that I would say to myself now would be, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. Mistakes are part of life, and the only thing that I would say is a bad thing is not continuing to grow.
Right.
As soon as I stop and say I'm good, the saying I use is, as soon as you stop growing, you start dying. And so it's just, that's what I would probably say to myself.
I love that, man. I love that. Well, I love having you here. I love Flourish.
Yeah.
It's always good to have friends.
Absolutely, yeah.
I just want to thank you for being here today, man.
Dude, we're looking forward to being a part of Brighton and getting a community partnership.
I'm excited for that as well. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Thanks, man.
My name is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
And hi. And I went into Brighton right around January 6th of 2020.
Where are you from originally?
Originally from Salt Lake, went down to St. George for a little bit, but had some things going on and needed to change, and Brighton was in Salt Lake, so that's when I moved.
Yeah. And you've a little year and a half?
It is.
2 years now almost? You've been
about a year and a half. Yeah.
Right? So, kind of one of the things I wanted to talk to you today about, we are at the community center, and the purpose of this, right, is to have an established community for all of our people that have gone through Brighton and are in the larger recovery community. So, question I kind of want to ask you is, what does community mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really everything to me because I can't do this alone. And I've said this time and time again, when I was at the mansion at Brighton, you said, hey, I want to include you into the alumni. And I was thinking to myself, me? What do I have to offer? But I was just really excited because I was really lost, and I wanted purpose. I wanted something to live for, and that community kind of gives that to you, and just makes you feel a part of something again. So that was it's really important to me.
Awesome. What one of the things I always like to ask people too is, like, if you could talk to Jeff when you first started your journey into recovery, what's something you wish you had known then that you know now?
Well, I didn't have much of a higher power in my life, and I really struggled with image and just didn't really have much direction. I kind of just was just kind of drifted in the wind, and I think for me, if I could tell myself that I am exactly who I need to be, I don't need to be anything different, and I've always tried to be somebody different, and so being able just to tap into who I am now, and the people around me love me for me, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, well, it's been great to watch that. I've loved watching you grow. What do you think is, besides the community aspect, what is the biggest part, like what does alumni mean to you, being a part of it and doing the things that you partake in?
Yeah, so alumni is a way of life, right? So it's a community of people that are trying to do the same thing you are, and there's people that have been before me, and it's just including everybody, no matter your age or what you did. It's just being a part of something, and when something comes up, you can call them or call her, and just be a part of something different. It's a support group and something to fall back on, which is really big for me. because there's always ups and downs, but that community is always there.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the biggest thing that we try to do is, both as staff and then as people in alumni, as people have been around and you guys are leaders, and is that we want it to just be this all-inclusive thing that everybody is a part of, no matter what, and we are here for you from the day you step into our doors of Brighton and the days you walk out, and that continued support, I think is just so important to our growth as in recovery, and for myself included. Well, cool. Is there anything else you kind of want to add, say, anything like that?
Yeah, I would love to. So last year, 2020 in January, I was in a really dark place and didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And I remember watching a podcast, and I believe you were on it, and Paul was on it. Could have been Brady. But I was just watching, and I was like, these guys have purpose, and I want that. And I said to myself, one day, if I get better, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to be a part of this. And, sure enough, I went into Brighton, and look at this now. It's
You're
a year,
on it.
I'm on it. It's a year later. and it's just a wonderful experience. And, you stay sober, stick with the winners like yourself. Things start happening, falling into place. And I'm just really blessed. But with the alumni, what that means is fun. Don't ever have to be that anymore, and just doing something different. So, yeah, it's sweet.
And I think the great thing about this whole thing is like all of it was just somebody did this for me. I do it for someone else. I do it for you, and then you turn around and you do it for someone else. And
yeah,
and that's what it's about, and that's what our kind of our culture is, right?
Yeah.
So awesome, man! I'm super proud of you. It's been an awesome journey to watch, and I can't wait to continue it with you.
Likewise.
Okay,
yeah,
brother.
thank you, brother. Love you,
Thanks,
man.
Chef. Love you too, man.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm sitting here today with my friend Heidi.
Hi.
Hey, Heidi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So just kind of a few questions. The first one off the bat is, what does community mean to you?
Community means to me fellowship, connection, a place to find others that are like you, and basically to keep us busy versus getting into trouble
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's community to me is that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. What's something, if you could go back to maybe the beginning of your journey in this whole recovery process that maybe that now that you would have wished you had known back then, what would you tell yourself?
The earlier self to stick with it and not give up and believe in myself versus constantly doubting myself.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what do you think's the big difference now versus maybe times in the past where we might have given up? Like what is pushing you now to not give up?
My sense of community, actually.
Awesome.
My friends that I've made here at Brighton. Just knowing that I can do it.
Yeah.
And I've had the help of Brighton to help me get through it.
Yeah, and I've seen you put in the work too. I've seen the changes, and it's been great. Like whether I see you at 6 a.m. at FTR or I see you come into any of the alumni stuff or just participating in groups and stuff like that. And it's been really wonderful to see that. And I think it's cool to see, like, especially because I was the same. I wanted to give up in the beginning, but once I get to see people go through that and then come back into it and realize like and kind of become a leader of the group, and that's what I've been seeing with you, and it's been really awesome to watch. Having gone through this, and I've been doing this for a little while, what to you has been the greatest thing that's come out of your recovery for you?
Greatest thing. Success this time versus failure.
Yeah.
I've tried it quite a few times and it's taken what it's taken, but to get where I am now, like you said, took a lot of hard work and humbling myself and most of all, putting myself here at the community center and getting some time underneath my belt and having the security of Brighton. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this
Well,
and
thank
getting
you.
out of your comfort zone
Yes.
and having talked with me. So, cool. Thanks, Heidi.
All right. Thanks,
Good.
sweetheart.